This episode brought to you by the Roster Up Media Network, home to tangible insights for the NFL and fantasy sports. Check us out at rosterupmedia.com.
Outstanding. Welcome back to the RUSL, everyone. I'm your host, Andrew C. Baby Spite, and we have a NFC South Preview today. Here with my co-hosts, the Ooze and the Law. I don't know why I said the Ooze, but I like it. I will address you guys as such. The Ooze, the Law.
Capitalize the T.
Yes, sir. So we're going to talk about the Buccaneers, the Saints, Falcons, and Panthers today, everyone. Give you our fantasy insight on all the players on each team and the changes they did during the offseason. But as always, please go follow us, your favorite team, on rosterupmedia.com, all social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, now on YouTube. And go back and check out our previous shows for a mock draft episode and the AFC preview AFC and NFC North previews. So let's jump right into it, guys. We're gonna first talk about the Buccaneers. I'll talk a little bit, and then you guys give me some insight, and we'll ask some questions along the way, and see how we do. So last year, Tom Brady retired, and then he unretired, and now he's back. And he's playing on the Buccaneers again. Mm-hmm. New head coach, Todd Bowles. No Gronk this time, which is surprising to me. They added Russell Gage from Atlanta, Mason Rudolph, and they recently just added Julio Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Ronald Jones got traded away, and Rashad White.
Drafted Rashad.
And what else am I missing? So I'll go through some stats. I don't know if there's anything specific you guys want to talk about in particular about them, but we've got Tom Brady obviously coming back. Last year, he was leading the league in passing, over 5,300 yards, 43 touchdowns. He led in that category as well, and he's seeking another ring because that's why he's back. Leonard Fournette and rookie White are leading the backfield with running backs. And the wide receivers, you have Mike Evans, Julio, Godwin, who missed 4 games last year due to a knee injury, and Russell Gage. So 4, either was elite or elite wide receivers. Russell Gage, obviously, the last of there. I wouldn't call him elite, but he's still, a valuable option. And we have Bray or Rudolph replacing Gronk. Their favorite to win the division, and obviously high-power offense, always good for fantasy. So I like to think, no Rojo's good for Leonard Fournette, Julio, and Gage are bad for Evans and Godwin. But what do you guys, after talking about all that, what do you guys feel about, the Buccaneers this year?
Go ahead, Oos.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know which one was going first. So for me, it's the same, right? Like, besides the additions of Julio Jones, Russell Gage, you're sitting in there. You're like, you know what? I'm waiting on Chris Godwin. He's coming off an injury. They're saying he's looking good in camp. On the side, because with the injury he had last year, they're taking it slow. No more Scotty. He left, but you still have Mike Evans. You still have Cameron Brate and what's the other time? And Rudolph with additions. So the big bodies are there. Tom Brady, he's still going to do what Tom Brady does, and that's the crazy thing about it, right? With Tom Brady, he had a 67% completion rating last year at 47 or 48, however he is, and then 43 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. I'm taking that all day. You know, this year his ADP is still sitting at 8. Do I like it out there? Maybe with the Julio and Rudolph coming in, I might go. Like, if some people want to probably go and chase after them a little bit, but for me, it's just consistency. I think that the team, the only thing that really changed that's a major factor is Tom Bowles taking over for Bruce Arians. You know, Bruce Arians was really hands-on. He's still hands-on as a manager. You know, I was watching inside training camp. He's in his little golf cart watching training camp practice going on, right? So Tom Bowles was a defensive-minded while Bruce Arians was offensive-minded. That's a factor. But he still has the offensive coordinator that's calling plays from Bruce Arians' time. So hopefully we see, you know, the down the field throws. You know, I mean, he only had like 6 yards per attempt, but maybe get that up with Julio. The red zone target's going to be huge. Rudolph, big guy. Julio, big guy. Evans, big guy. Right? Love that in that. So with Tom, we're definitely like, and the Bucks, we're loving it.
Very nice, very nice. Lance, what do you think as far as the wide receivers after the addition of Julio, though?
Well, so
Mike Evans. Go ahead.
Mike Evans and Godwin don't really eat into each other. They play 2 different roles, right? One's a slot receiver. One's the big body, tall, jump, get into the end zone kind of guy. Mike Evans always puts up 1,000 yards. Look at him. 5 years in a row, he's got over 1,000 yards. The big difference in his point totals, fantasy-wise, is going to be touchdowns. But each of the last 2 years he's been with Tom Brady, he's had close to or double-digit touchdowns. So I don't think that his is going to drop off. So if you're getting him at the late of the second round, he's probably the highest floor wide receiver you're going to get in the late or second round. Is his ceiling as high? No, his ceiling's probably not as high as some of the other people. But at least for a floor. So if you reach for somebody who was high risk in the first round, taking him in the second round is probably a good, safer bet. Tom Brady, again, he was top 2 or 3 quarterback, depending on the scoring in your league last year. He's still being drafted ADP, the 5th quarterback off the line. He is still good at that position. I would take him anywhere in any draft if he's the 5th one coming off. That means he's going either one before or one after Jalen Hurts. And the only thing helping Jalen Hurts is his running ability. So Tom Brady putting up 43 touchdowns, 5,000 yards. You know what you're getting with him passing-wise. You know what you're getting with Mike Evans. Godwin, you've got to hope he's going to be healthy. I don't think Gage is going to eat into Godwin, and I definitely don't think Julio's going to eat into Mike Evans. Julio's lost at least 3 steps. He might have lost a step in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady, to be honest. That boy put everything on the line, and he was the only one still playing in the second half. That being said, he hasn't been the same since that Super Bowl. He's been slowly dragging off, and you saw it there in Tennessee. It's not that Ryan Tannehill can't throw the ball, which he can't. Sure enough, he can't. But Julio Jones isn't going to get the separation he needs. He's still, you throw a ball in his way, he's going to get the ball and make that acrobatic catch. But a lot of these corners nowadays can get around the wide receivers' bodies, and the NFC South is not necessarily devoid of those type of cornerbacks. So I don't think Julio is really going to be a factor here. If you're taking him in the 14th, 15th round, that's probably as good as you're going to get with Julio.
All right.
And
Let's keep.
Real quick. I like the ad, right? For running back situation with the Tampa Bay Bucks is you have Ronald Jones getting shipped out, right? And then you have the rookie Rachaad White coming in. Rachaad White coming in, I feel like when watching him is more of a pass catching back, meaning Leonard Fournette's going to take the 3 downs most of the time because Tom Brady doesn't like to be in a third and long situation. It's more of the third and short. You know what I mean? The running situation is going to be very relied on, I think, being in his later age. And then when they're getting in the red zone, he has one of the most attempts in the red zone for throwing. So Rachaad White might be a nice rookie just to stash in the later rounds if you're feeling feisty, because he's going to be in more PPR leagues. He's going to be like, a better, slimmer Ronald Jones. I think that's the best I can go for right now. You know what I mean? But for like a late now rookie, those dynasty leagues out there, or those keeper leagues, that Rachaad White might be it, just for a nice pass catching back.
And Tom Brady's not very good. Like, there's not a lot of running backs you think of pass catching that have ever played with Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Even Ronald Jones really dropped off the map when Tom Brady came on board.
No, remember,
saw him as running back, but not necessarily catching screens. Tom Brady doesn't think like that. His yards per attempt may still be 6 yards, but he's looking at tight ends. He's looking at those Wes Welkers, those slot receivers. He's not looking for running backs and bubble screens.
Well, he did have it in New England as well, though. In what's his name?
What now?
Ooh, now it's getting me. We have to come back to that. But he had a nice tandem, and like when he won the Super Bowl with LeGarrette Blount, and then can't believe it's escaping my name.
But you can remember LeGarrette. You can't remember the other guy.
The pass, no, but he had a really
James
good
White.
James White. James White was a beast. He would dump it off. He would just dump it off, and he would get 30 yards, a touchdown. He would get a nice 5 receptions for
James White.
No. He had like 3 years with him. Like it was a good 3 years.
You did not have 3 flex years with James.
No, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
I'll at least give you
2. Yeah.
So
You
let's
can give me
split
2.
the difference.
Yeah, we're
But all
split.
right, moving on. We're gonna get to the Saints now. There's a lot to unpack here.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Let's make this quick, please.
But we gotta cover all of it. It's a little weird to mention the Saints without mentioning, Drew Brees and Sean Payton. But we're here in 2021 or 2022, and the new head coach is Dennis Allen, and the new QB is Jameis Winston.
Or returning. He's returning.
Returning.
From
My
injury.
bad. Forgot about that. His ACL tear. They signed Jarvis Landry this offseason. They drafted Chris Olave from Ohio State. And this, drama going on with Kamara with his off-the-field issues that we previously stated on other shows, is something to consider, obviously, when you're drafting him. He's still going in the second round, high second round. So, like we said before, he had an altercation during the Pro Bowl game, and I read his hearing is rescheduled for the September 29th, so after the season started. So let's start with Kamara on all this. He's a great talent. He's finished top 10, surprisingly, with all his other issues in all of his seasons in PPR format. And obviously, since the 29th is after the season starts, he could be suspended mid-season. So the question to you guys, what should owners do about Kamara? Stay away, draft late, or take him where he's at with his high ADP, even though this suspension could be looming?
To be honest, for me, I'm staying away. I have way too many other options that will get me through the season, that will stay during the season. Because remember, if the court date is the 29th, he can probably play, depending on the team, he can probably play from week 1 to, week 4?
Yeah.
And then whatever happens at that court date, he's either suspended, or if he even he'll be suspended, or he can play. And then the suspension will have to come from the NFL anyway, depending on the verdict or the decision in the courts, right? So now, if I draft a guy for week 4, he's going to get suspended for, let's say, it's got to be like 6 games. To be honest, I feel like it'll be 6 games. So now I have my second round running back, out for 6 weeks due to off the field issues. No, thank you. No, thank you. And now you like it's either you trade for him, you trade him away, and try to get value from him, or you keep him and then look for his backup, or and you have to handcuff him. You have to. That's a must. Whoever you have to handcuff Alvin Kamara because of this issue.
Lance, what are your takes on Kamara?
I agree with Ooze. I mean, I had him in one of my leagues as a keeper previous 2 years, and this year I'm not keeping Cup and then deciding to take my chances. I don't want him at the end of the second round. I would rather him in the third or fourth, and mainly because ignoring the suspension, right? The best that he did last year was probably what he did what he had finally at the end of the year. He was maybe a top 10 running back on a full PPR at the least, right? When he and Jameis were playing, when Jameis was healthy, his stats were actually lower. It wasn't until the other quarterbacks came in that his stats actually started getting a little bit more of a bump. And it really wasn't that much of a bump either. It's gone are the days of Sean Payton. Gone are the days of Drew Brees where they're pumping him the ball if Michael Thomas isn't open. And that's the other thing. He's got too many wide receivers. And Jameis Winston, as soon as the ball is hiked to him, for better or worse, his eyes are 40 yards down the field. And Kamara starts off 10 yards behind him. So there's not going to be a case where he's looking for Kamara 40 yards down the field. Kamara is a great running back. He's probably one of the better ones coming out of the backfield catching stuff, even ignoring all his off-the-field issues.
Mm-hmm.
But the quarterback is what's going to really lead him. He's not a between-the-tackles running kind of guy. He's a guy that you need to get passes to. You're going to come out. He's a mismatch for almost every cornerback, nickel. He's a mismatch for every linebacker. But unfortunately, his quarterback is a mismatch for him. So I'm not doing Kamara because of those reasons.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. Because of the new offensive scheme that's coming with the new head coach. You're completely right. And remember, it doesn't seem like it before the injury, but I'll just give you a little stat line of Jameis Winston. He had a 7.3 yards per attempt, had 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions before he got injured. Tom Brady had a 7.4 yards per attempt. So you're talking about a guy that, like you just said, he's throwing down the field. And with this new offense, he might not be throwing down. He might not be checking down. He might be even throwing even further now down the field, right? Michael Thomas is back. Beat reporters, there's a frenzy out there saying that Michael Thomas is out there. He look amazing. He looks sharp. I'm staying away, but he has his main target back, right? And then, like C-Baby said, Jarvis Landry's now in there, slot machine, right? Comfort guy. So they're getting Jameis Winston on different levels in the Saints offense. So yeah, you're completely correct on that. New offense is a scary sight because we don't know what it is.
Last question I want to ask on the Saints, and we can move on. We can skip over Jameis and Taysom Hill. You already mentioned Jameis, obviously, throughout. But the one question I want to ask is about the wide receivers. You have Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, the rookie Olave, and Callaway, with Jameis Winston throwing to all of them. So the question is, gun to your head, you got to take one Saints wide receiver. Which one are you taking? And based on their ADP and round, it's okay with you.
Which one am I taking?
And reminders, Thomas is going 5th, 6th round. Jarvis Landry, double digits, 10, 11. Chris Olave is a little bit after Thomas, and then Callaway is undrafted.
Callaway
Olave is too high for a rookie. Although he's fast, he's just too high for a rookie for me. Thomas again, I don't want to take that if I'm getting Jarvis Landry in the double digits, that's probably where I'd go. It'd be a safe
I
bet.
completely
Somebody
agree.
who might get me average wide receiver stats.
Not for nothing. I feel like that's more of a value pick / breakout for Jarvis. Absolutely, I'm taking Jarvis 100%. You know,
Okay.
Even with all his suction cup healing techniques.
yeah. Because my thing is, again, the new offense is the scary part, because the scheme of it may not fit Jameis. So if it doesn't fit Jameis, I know he can check down, and then check down for Jarvis is his glory land. You know what I mean? Like he can make something happen from 15 yards up, 10 yards up, and he'll make it happen. So I'll take Jarvis because he can be a huge value / breakout. He can break out and have a nice, 2016, 2017 Jarvis, right? That he's all over the field, just catching balls, making moves. So yeah, I'll definitely take Jarvis Landry in that situation. I can't touch Mike Thomas. It's just PTSD with him. I just can't do it. Yeah, I can't do it. Can't do it.
All right, we're going to the Falcons. And before we get started, I'm telling both of you right now, you cannot argue about Kyle Pitts.
No, you gotta do it. Though.
It's forbidden. It's forbidden. We may even skip over Kyle Pitts if we have to. But the Falcons, longtime Falcon Matt Ryan traded to Uz's Colts. Russell Gage is on the Bucks. Hayden Hurst to the Bengals. Mike Davis to the Ravens. And now they got Mariota, Damian Williams, and Brian Edwards. And then they drafted Desmond Ridder, Drake London, and Tyler Allinger? However you pronounce that. And they're projected for only 5 wins. So
it's tough. It's tough.
Let's go to Mariota. Actually, let's skip over Mariota. Let's talk about Drake London, rookie. He is going probably the highest, I would say, out of the rookie wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me, guys. Is this a mistake? Are we buying into this? Mariota's the quarterback, and this team is only projected for 5 wins.
I mean, to be honest, he is another, he might be a sleeper for me. Like, Drake London might be a sleeper just because of the fact that him being a rookie, he's going to be the X in that offense. I don't think Brian Edwards had his chance in like the Raiders. He had this. I don't think they're gonna feed the rookie like they fed the rookie last year, right? And then I feel like that it can make or break somebody. So him going, his current ATP is 7.03, one of the highest for all rookies. Am I trusting this? Maybe. Only because of the fact that, there's not a lot of offensive choices. That's the thing. Meaning, it's either you go and feed Kyle Pitts again, which he had 1,000 yards, no touchdowns, or you use, or you go and use the guy you use your top draft pick on in Drake London. And I feel like that, like he can go and, maybe usually rookie wide receivers. We've seen it with like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. It's not the first half. It's not the first half of the year that they start breaking out. You saw Jamar Chase. Everybody thought his guy was a bum, but halfway through, starting on the second half, this guy was breaking out. So I feel like the same is going to come with Drake London. Marcus Mariota, he was a top draft pick in his time. Lost his job to Ryan Tannehill, moved around. I think he can still. I think he has have a little bit in tank. 5 wins is I think it's. I don't want to say disrespectful, but I feel like they could be like a close to 500 team. You just got to give him a chance.
Lance,
they have Drake London being drafted ahead of Devontae Smith. ahead
I
of
think
Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman is arguably the number one wide receiver out of Baltimore. I don't know anything about Drake London. But what I do know is Mariota better not be throwing him the ball. I don't want to touch Drake London unless Desmond Ridder is in there. And the only thing is, I know nothing about Desmond Ridder, bro. I know enough about Mariota. No wide receiver is good with Mariota. If I've got a problem with his tight ends, I got a problem with anybody. Mariota is Tim Tebow
Oh,
without the
whoa!
cross.
Stop it! Now you're getting
He
out
is
of
Tim
hand.
Tebow without the cross.
You're
He
getting,
can win you
you're
games. He can do
getting
that
out
stuff,
of
but it's all going to be
hand.
gritty, grimy, and good enough for a
You're
football win,
getting
but not
out
enough for a
of
fantasy win.
hand.
I don't want anything to do with Mariota throwing a ball to anybody.
You're
If
getting
So,
out
anything,
of hand.
are you drafting any Falcons player, Lance, at all?
No, I can answer that for him.
unless there was blackmail involved, no.
This guy's unbelievable. This guy's unbelievable.
Kyle Pitts is sitting there in the 10th round. Sure, I'm taking Kyle Pitts.
Oh my god, he's not making it
But
past
that's
the
because,
second.
but that's the next thing, right? So if they're gonna feed Drake London the ball as a rookie, then doesn't that eat into Kyle Pitts' 1,000 yards if they were feeding him the ball because they had nobody else out there from week 10 on?
I don't think so, to be honest. I feel like with Kyle Pitts, he can still grab 1,000 yards. Like, I mean, this guy, he's a wide receiver playing tight end. Just to be honest, like, I think they covered him like Thursday, like Falcons, like Thursday or Wednesday, and this guy is just slender. You know, he's just huge. He's huge. So I feel like the touchdowns will be there. And Drake London, this guy is 6'5", slender. I think he was like a 4'4", 40.
But you got to remember, you don't have a quarterback throwing to him. You have Mariota.
Marcus Mariota is not as bad.
You don't have a quarterback throwing to him. You don't have a quarterback throwing to him. There's a reason why there's not a lot of players of Mariota's caliber still left in the league.
I mean, I guess, like, for me, I'm looking at Marcus right now, and like, all right, it's not the best, right? But when you go back to like his 2016 season, 26 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, you know, his 61 completion.
But I want to look at who he threw it to, right? Because that's.
I mean, that's Delaney
confusing.
Walker. It was AJ Brown that drafted that year? No, I think that's 2019. Like, I mean, he it wasn't bad, but still, the ratio was good. The completion rate is good. And then he was a journeyman. You know, he got injured in 2018. He wasn't good in 2019. And then he was on the Las Vegas Raiders for the last 2 years. Now he has a chance to revitalize. He basically, what Ryan Tannehill did, I think Marcus Mariota can do. You remember, Dolphins?
But Ryan Tannehill is only good because he's got Derrick Henry. You saw what happened last year without Derrick Henry.
I don't think so, because I thought he was good.
They didn't make the playoffs. AJ Brown's totals dropped off.
I think he was
And
good.
So did Ryan Tannehill's.
No, I thought Ryan Tannehill was good when he was on the Dolphins. He just didn't have anybody to throw to and didn't have any support. When he came to Tennessee, this man didn't throw much, but he was an efficient quarterback. That's what you need. You just need an efficient quarterback. And I think Marcus can be efficient. Just gotta give him a chance. That's all.
So, obviously, our analysts here are split between the Falcons. So, use good judgment in your drafts. Obviously,
And if you think Kyle Pitts is going to go off, draft Kyle Pitts, but leave London alone. But if you think London's going off, don't even sniff at Kyle Pitts.
I mean,
That's
nobody
really
else.
what it comes down to.
yeah.
Ryan Tannehill was only good for one wide receiver. Same thing with Mariota. He's only going to be good for one player, and you better pick the right one.
That's tough.
Yep. All right. Last team, North Carolina Panthers. After all this drama that Baker Mayfield was enduring before he got traded, he gets traded to Carolina, and now he has some more drama with Sam Darnold trying to compete for QB.
Is he the Watkins in this situation now? The guy being traded in that everybody wants to start instead of the quarterback that was already there?
I guess so.
Yeah,
I mean, without the lawsuits, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think Baker Mayfield can definitely help the Panthers, take it up another level. Sammy Donald, Sammy D, Sandman. I was pulling for you last year. You disappointed me.
he was so happy after week 4.
Oh my goodness.
I heard all this crap about, oh, you were wrong, Lance.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
But
and
anybody who was a Jets fan already knew the burn was coming.
yeah,
coming.
the burn definitely didn't come, and it wasn't good. I like Baker Mayfield for this team. I mean, this guy's tough. He brought a bad Browns team to a playoff, close to a playoff. They did make the playoffs. They did make the playoffs, didn't they?
I can't remember, but I think they did.
I'm pretty sure they did. But still, Browns with a torn labrum or torn rotator cuff, what the case may be, he plays his heart off, right? And with DJ Moore, with Robbie Anderson out there, I think they can actually shine with a quarterback getting the ball and not seeing ghosts out there, right? And that's the problem. This guy was still seeing ghosts from New York all the way down to, Carolina. That's a problem. Baker, he doesn't see ghosts. So
Let's talk about CMC real quick. This man has played 10 games in 2 seasons, and he's going as high as number 1 overall pick in some mocks. So the question here is, has the ship sailed on CMC, or you take one more shot on a dude that could literally change your fantasy team single-handedly if he's healthy?
you gotta shoot for the stars, baby. Shoot for the stars. You just hope this man stays healthy. He looks good in camp. I actually think he looks a little bit slimmer than he does. I guess he got a little more toner, cut out the little donuts after practice. That way his, soft tissue, and it was a soft tissue issue, right? Because he keeps, getting injured, hamstrings here, ankle there, and he's a running back. So you need to be available. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Availability is priority number 1. But when you see him out there being healthy, reports coming out saying he looks good and healthy, the word healthy keeps coming up, and you're like, I got to take a chance, because if I'm up in the, 1, 2, 3 spot and he drops to me at 3, that's a huge decision to make. And for me, this, like you said, this is a guy that can change your fantasy projection, up or down, depending on how it ends. So with CMC, I gotta take him. It's just too much value. There's nobody else behind him. That's the issue. Like there's nobody else behind him that you're confident in, and you've seen it for the last 2 years that you're confident in to say, hey, I can handcuff him, and we can get top 25 running back points. Can't. No shot.
Lance, real quick, before we move on to the wide receivers.
Unless he falls to the end of the first round, I don't want to touch him. I'm not touching him with any of my first 3 draft picks.
Did he
I'd rather
burn
have
you?
Derrick Henry. I'd rather have Derrick Henry. I'd rather have Jonathan Taylor. And I'd rather have Cooper Kupp. Outside of there, if I'm stuck between him and another of the top 5 running backs, he is the top 5 running back. Unfortunately, I'd take him at 5 because of his injury. His potential is number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows his potential. It's the risk that comes with him. So for me, I'm risk averse. I'm an accountant for a living. I'm not going to take him based on his risk. And I knew his risk before last year. I was telling everybody, stay away from him. And not because I knew he was going to get hurt. I just knew he had the propensity to get hurt. Same thing with Leonard Fournette. He's also another one we didn't really talk about. He runs hard, but the boy gets hurt. And sometimes he's hurt for a few weeks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
When you take Leonard, you got to make sure you better handcuff him with White
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with most people would have wanted to handcuff him with Rojo, but last year Rojo and Leonard were going the same round in a lot of drafts.
Yeah, but Rojo's
this year
value was
you
just
might
so
get
bad.
lucky. Yeah.
Let me ask you
So
guys this question: did either of you get burnt by Christian McCaffrey?
I didn't have to have a chance to pick him up, so no.
Because I think that would be one of the deciding factors for those listening. If you got burnt on him, you may have to just bite the bullet if you're in those top picks.
And that's the decision that haunts everybody, haunts all fantasy owners. Is the same thing I was talking about Mike Thomas. I had Mike Thomas in my keeper league, kept him for, my contract year. We had contracts there for my contract years, and then the year I think he dropped to me or something like that. And I'm saying this guy's holding out or whatever it's gonna be. He burnt me last year. He's saying he's back. He's in camp. What am I going to do here? You know what? Am I going to sit here and have 2 years in a row of just stress, or am I just going to move on and grab something else? That is the question you have to ask yourself. Are you going to sit there and the top 3 picks and you say, like Lance said, I have CMC or Cooper Kupp? Am I going for a guy can change my fantasy possessions up or down, or a guy that can really just trend me up every single week? That's the question. And then you answer yourself. And if it's yes, I'm going with CMC. If it's no, I'm going with Cooper Kupp.
Last topic here, the wide receivers. We've got DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and Marshall. The main one I want to talk about is DJ Moore. Robbie Anderson, if you want to, take a flyer on him real late on your draft. But I guess focusing on DJ Moore, the question here to you guys is, can he make a tier jump this year with, the possibility because he has a new quarterback, a better quarterback? And I mentioned this on one show that I couldn't remember the stat about him, but he's the only player, I found it, he's the only player that has over 1,150 yards in the past 3 years and low touchdowns. I don't think I wrote down the touchdowns part, but he's the only player who's had at least 1,150 in the past 3 years with these bad quarterbacks that he's been playing with. And he's only had, oh yeah, that's what it is. I wrote it down. I'm sorry. He has had 4 touchdowns for the last 3 seasons. 4 touchdowns last 3 seasons. So 12 total when, people like Devontae Adams are having monster amounts of touchdowns in a season. So I like him, but do you guys think he can make a tier jump this season, given everything I just said?
I'll go first here. Baker Mayfield is the new guy in town. Sam Darnold is the old guy that was there last year. If he didn't have but 4 touchdowns last year, don't expect them to have more than 5, 6 at the most.
Really?
And that's hard to say because Baker Mayfield didn't make any wide receivers. If anything, wide receivers went to Cleveland and actually got worse. Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr. They didn't really put up they didn't put up career years in Cleveland. So even if you replace Darnold with Baker Mayfield, you'll get a field manager. You'll get somebody who can win games. But for us fantasy folks, that, again, Marcus Mariota is not really relevant to us if he's not putting up those stats. It's the Tom Brady's. And to a lesser extent, it's those people who put up garbage time touchdowns. We don't care about the ending score of the NFL game. We care about the ending score of the fantasy game. And unfortunately, that really comes down to touchdowns.
I see that. Baker Mayfield had 17 touchdowns to 13 interceptions. I feel like Moore can definitely break out the season with Baker. I think Baker can focus on him and Robbie because I think he has the arm and accuracy to do so. But we have to see, right? But he's not going to go away from the 1,100 yards, and I don't think that trend is going to continue. Like you said, the Sam Darnold, who was there before Sam Darnold? It was
Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater, like those guys are game managers. While I wouldn't say Baker Mayfield was like a field commander or a game winner, but this guy does throw down the field, right? Like I feel like, he was out there again, another quarterback up in the yards per attempt. Like he's 7.2 in yards per attempt. That's going to reflect more and benefit more in DJ Moore's favor. And we just have to see with that, was the Browns just an organization that kills everybody, or was Baker just bad? We'll see.
So,
no, we're not saying he's bad, right? You can be a good field commander and be prevalent for a lot of things, right? It's just fantasy-wise, he wasn't good.
No, yeah.
So, yes or no, he makes the tier jump or not?
I think he makes the tier jump. I think he'll stay around his yardage, and I think he will increase the touchdowns, and I think he'll have more than 7 touchdowns.
And Lance, you're going, I'm assuming, with the no here.
Yeah, I'm going to say he's going to decrease. I just don't think he's going to go up.
So he's going to stay consistent at like 4 touchdowns and 1,100 yards.
Yeah, but if that's his base, right? People just need to make sure that's what I'm getting out of him. Same thing with Mike Evans. If that's his base, where is he good? He's not good in the first round. Mike Evans not good in the first round. At the back end of the second round, good. DJ Moore, what's his base? Well, if that's what 4 touchdowns, 1,150 yards gets you, well, then figure him in there as a solid pick if you got really, really risky by taking CMC in the first round, by taking Leonard Fournette in the second round. Take somebody who's going to offset some of that risk. Don't go super risky. Try and offset some of your bets with some easy money.
Okay.
I like it. I can dig it. All right, folks, we got through all the teams. That's our analysis on the NFC South. Come back and join us later in the week for the AFC South. And we're going to keep on bringing you all these previews from all the divisions. And stay with us throughout your fantasy drafts and into the season. We're here. We're giving you expert analysis as best as we can, as much as we can. So thank you for listening. That's it from the RUSL.
Peace.
See you.